us, I mean exactly religion had failed us. I can take you back to Chicago Sunday morning, and I can take you into 20 churches that they wouldn't let me in, but few taverns. Kind of makes you wonder which one of those buildings should the cross be on. Religion has definitely failed us. The day you young people start thinking, maybe the religious leaders will straighten up. They preach 24 hours a day, thou shalt not kill. This is good if you're going to protect me with this theory. Don't preach to me, thou shalt not kill, and the minute America gets into war, they knock that Bible out of your hand and my hand and send both of us over there. Call me a soldier and you a chaplain. And I want to know, what's the difference? A man break in my house and rape my daughter, my wife, and you tell me thou shalt not kill. But you okay me to go lay on some cold ground and shoot at some cat I never met before that might not do the things this guy done to me. So religion has failed us. Every time we look around, we're talking about missionary work, going up on the Indian reservation. That's a disgrace. You ought to go up there and bring them down. These are the jobs that you young people have. The Indians that's alive in America today was born under the United States Constitution. They are American first. We had to fight Russia tonight and lost. They wouldn't consider the Indians as being non-Americans. And it's a dirty shame when you think a country as great as this have still kept these Indians up on the reservation as long as they have. And you have states right now that's still trying to get legislation through to still misuse the Indian today. These are the problems that confront you young people today. This is why you're going to have to think, because we made a lot of mistakes. This is why we're going to have to wake up and think. I don't know how thorough you read the newspaper report on that airplane that crashed down in Miami earlier this week. Did you notice that one little section where they said they closed up that Indian school and used it as a morgue? I wonder, had it been reversed, had that school been closed up? We don't think. The only place in your life you've ever participated in a fire drill is in a public place. And yet and still we lose 99% of the people that burn to death. It happens in the home, but we've never thought about having a fire drill in a home. We spend billions of dollars every year on civil defense. We have civil defense buildings all over America, and do you know they're closed on weekends? Like Khrushchev just fights a 5-day week. We have a lot of waking up to do because we've made so many mistakes. And this is what you young people go out in the world with on your shoulders today. All of our mistakes. Anyone else?
Yeah, what do you think of the Muslim cult?
The Muslims? Well, one, the Muslims have existed for something like 35 years. And the Negro actually knew nothing about them until the white man put him on his television show. Years the Muslims have been in existence. And we didn't know anything about it until the leading white universities in America started inviting them on campus to speak. Not one Negro college in America ever had a Muslim on campus to speak. This is a myth. I don't know why. The black Muslims never knew they had 200,000 members till the New York Times told them they did. The Muslims represent a big joke to me because all my life I've been told, leave that switchblade at home, quit drinking and acting a damn fool, and leave that white woman alone and we'll accept you. The Muslims decided to do that and they called it un-American. So the Muslims represent a corn on my foot. If you have a corn on your foot and you go to the best foot specialist in the world and he removes that corn, if you put it back in that tight shoe, you're going to get another corn. So what do you want to get rid of first, the shoe or the corn? You know, you look around at the so-called problems we have today in America, and it just frightens you to death. Makes you wonder about the intelligence level of this country and of the whole world. This racial problem we consider a racial problem could be solved tonight. If one seven-headed idiot floated down here and called us Earth people, that's what we would be. And Kennedy and Khrushchev would be sitting at a table 5 hours from now saying, what can we do with this thing? That's the problem. Everybody's fighting something and there's really nothing to fight. It's a real racial problem. You never heard of a race ride in the wintertime. If you lived in the state of Illinois and you decided to drive your car to certain sections of the South, where they see that Illinois license plate and underneath it, Land of Lincoln, they would shoot through your car. But they won't get rid of the $5 bills that have Lincoln's picture and his name on them. So it's amazing, this great problem we're supposed to have, it really don't exist. Because it could be solved tomorrow. But we passed the buck on it. We said, well, it's not me. The old folks teach us hate. Old folks can't tell you who to marry. If your parents can't teach you who to love, you know damn good well they can't teach you who to hate unless you kind of wanted to do it a little bit yourself. So these are the problems we have today.
Do you ever think about going into politics yourself?
No, I would never go into politics because when you go into politics, you lose your freedom of speech. It's a lot different when you have to think for a group of people than it is when you think as an individualist. The political setup in this country is the biggest myth in the world. Everyone walks around this great country believing the greatest right you have in America is the right to vote. And the greatest right you have in America is the right not to vote and won't anything happen to you. But as long as they can keep you believing the greatest right you have is the right to vote, then they can keep you voting for the lesser of the two evils. That's why we can't get good government from the national level to the state level to the local level, because we're so busy believing the greatest right we have is the right to vote. We say, well, he's no good, but he's better, so you put him in so he don't steal all the money. Any more questions? Yes.
What is your impression of Adam Clayton Powell?
Adam Clayton Powell? He's a hell of a politician. I met him several times, and on one incident I told him there was one little angle I differed with him on, and that was his hard fight to keep the school bill watered down on federal aid to schools. He feels that he's right in saying no school should receive money that's segregated. I say, this is good. You tell the people in the state of Mississippi and Georgia, as long as your schools are segregated, you can't receive any federal money for schools. But he sits right there in the Congress and let them give him money to build a federal highway. So if you're going to take my tax money and build a highway in the state of Mississippi where a cat can travel 10 miles to lynch me, then give them kids some money. Did you have?
What do you personally think the future holds for the Negro in the South?
Well, I don't think it's really that much different. The only difference between the Negro in the South and the Negro in the North is you're a little bit safer up here. In the South, they don't care how close the Negro gets as long as he don't get too big, and up north, they don't care how big the Negro gets as long as he don't get too close. And we look down and we talk about the South. You realize the state of California has more segregated schools than Georgia, Alabama, and Mississippi put together? Because if you have segregated schools, you have to have segregated neighborhoods. And wherever you have racial tension, you have people that can't think. You say a Negro problem, there's no Negro problem in America. Show me a Negro problem in America and I'll show you dumb white leadership. Governor Barnett, any incident you find, we don't control anything. So we can't have a problem. This goes as long as we hung up in this racial fight and this racial struggle, we can't think. You have one of the largest states, the largest state in America, right here in California. And you had a football team in this state that got killed in a plane wreck. And they hadn't received one penny. It's a disgrace to the state of California. The insurance company backed out. The airline went bankrupt. And the state said we didn't have anything to do with it. But if one of your athletes in this school here go to Michigan and stick up a bank, the state boys will be here talking to the president. You have all those kids that got killed on that plane wreck representing this state of California in a football game, and this great state of California is fixing to adopt Chile and have forgot about their own. He said, what lies ahead for the Negro today? We have a new Negro today. We have new minority groups today. 20 and 30 years ago, the Negro had an empty stomach. Today, his belly is full and his mind is hungry. Man reacts much different behind a full stomach and a hungry mind. I don't think the Negro have ever wanted anything but just to be fair. Keep me a second-class citizen if you must, but please don't make me pay first-class taxes. Send me to the worst schools in America if you must, but when I go in to apply for a job, please don't give me the same test you give that white boy. Give me the roughest job in the steel mill, right next to the furnace, but please don't go out and tell people I stink. It's a matter of being fair. Time I pick up the paper, I read about a Negro crime rate. I say, what Negro crime rate? John Graham put 40 sticks of dynamite in his mother's luggage and blew up a whole plane. Every time Bobby Senator Kennedy mentioned the syndicate, it's not us. I said, what Negro crime rate? In the history of the world, man has always had three ways to survive: work, bar, or steal. If you don't give me a job, won't put me on relief, I'll take it from you. This is human nature. All we want is to be fair. Every time you pick up the paper, you read about Negro women with illegitimate kids, and who wrote the article? Some chick living in a neighborhood where they got abortion credit cards. And this is all the Negro is after today. Negro walk downtown and steal something, he's a rogue. White guy go downtown and steal something, he's a kleptomaniac. We draw the line. We forget there's not a Negro crime rate, it's an American crime rate. It's not Negro women with illegitimate kids, it's American women with illegitimate kids. We are Americans. The only time the average Negro becomes an American is when he leaves the country. Then he becomes an American. We're fixing to go to Russia to run a track meet. The American track team will run against the Russian track team. And it's a disgrace to think a Negro can go to Russia and run in an integrated track meet, but he can't go to the state of Louisiana because they have a law that prevents integrated sports. These are the problems we have. Yes. I like all fighters, man. That's the only way we can get Negroes on television is Saturday night fighting. Like one more question? Yes.
Consider integration being the direct opposite of segregation.
Integration being the direct opposite of segregation? No. You're dealing with two different things now. Segregation is one thing. Racial segregation is something else. To go into a TB ward in a hospital where they put the patients over in this one section, that's segregation. To put a person over in the hospital in one section because of race, that's racial segregation. The world could never survive without prejudice. It's racial prejudice. The two are so close together. To look at you and assume it's because I look at you the way you walk, this would be prejudice. To assume that you're a hell of an athlete because you're a Negro, this is racial prejudice. A very fine line between the two of them. Now, all of us haven't got rhythm, baby. I'm sorry. Do I plan to write a book? No, I do a lot of research. I have a lot of research staff. My staff consists of about 12 people, only to find out certain problems. Like right now, I'm researching this plane wreck here, and I'm going to give it to a national magazine, and maybe some of your political leaders will wake up and do something about this. I was in the state of Mississippi. I send the research fellows down there, and I had to go down myself because the things that go on in the state of Mississippi is absolutely unbelievable. I found out about a young man by the name of Clyde Kennard. I don't know if any of you in the house is familiar with this case. This is a Negro that registered to go to the University of Southern Mississippi 3 years ago. The day he walked on campus, they found $5 sacks of stolen chicken feed on his farm. The next day, he was sentenced to 7.5 years at hard labor in the Mississippi State Penitentiary. When I found out about this, I sent my team of researchers into Mississippi. It was very shocking, the things we found out. I made a vow in the nightclub in Chicago, New Year's Eve, that my New Year's resolution was to see to it that Clyde Kennard gets out of the penitentiary. I had a young man from the press say, well, how can you do this? You're not a lawyer. I get the facts, and I expose the facts. America will get him out. This is the faith I have in America. Well, if I never lived to see another New Year's resolution come true, this one happened. We gathered up the information on this. The best chicken feed on the market is Purina. Sells for $4.50 a sack. This was a lesser grade they claimed they found. They stick the value at it at $5 a sack to get a $25 felony rap on him. He'd been in jail 2.5 years as of 3 weeks ago, and he had never been allowed a visitor. I found a sister of his that lived in Chicago, bought her a plane ticket, put her on the plane, and gave her a list of questions to ask him. Not until then did the world know that he was dying from cancer. The day she arrived there, 2 convicts had to pull him out of bed, dress him, bring him down to the visiting room. The next day he was back on hard labor. On gathering these facts, getting into the press, exposing them, taking them into Washington, D.C., to the Justice Department. After it was exposed, and as I said, America will get him out. You did. Thursday, I left the Justice Department to the millions of other people that had read about the case. By the time my plane had landed in Chicago, Clyde Kennard had been released. Governor Barnett gave a direct order to take him to the University of Mississippi Hospital. They had to go out in the field and get this young man off of hard labor. They gave him 5 pints of blood. 3 hours later, Governor Barnett told him he was free. He didn't have to go back to the penitentiary. Everyone was happy that I knew, but it created a problem, because as long as he wasn't a convict, the University of Mississippi Hospital didn't have to treat him. So we had to send a jet plane down to Mississippi